Welcome to Worlds Unbound. Make sure to visit the story page on Royal Road to support the author, or to follow along. Link in the description. Video created with permission from author. The tutorial is Way Too Hard. By Palt. Chapter 21 F2 Categorization. With a strange sort of world weariness, I returned to eating flowers. I can deal with the poisonous and hallucinogenic ones pretty well, but some cause really exotic symptoms that my resistances basically have to work together to counterattack. Lady number 667 has a nerve toxin that makes you unable to feel your tongue, and since it doesn't exactly work as a normal poison, it doesn't trigger my poison protection but rather my paralysis tolerance. If it hadn't evolved into paralysis resistance just in time, I might have choked to death on my own tongue. Lady number 9 makes me feel uncontrollably hungry. But not for food. If you get my drift. And apparently there's no horny tolerance, so I was left with that for over 4 hours, and it was just a bad time overall. Lady number 690 made my stomach uncontrollably itchy, and I thought that only the skin would be affected by the itchiness. But then it was still itchy even after I'd scratched off my skin, so I just kinda kept scratching even after it went through my fat layer and a bit of the muscle. I almost opened up my own bowels, but then I got so desperate I purposefully ate lady number 444, which makes me manic, but that didn't really help because it just made me eat more flowers and dance around naked. Once I got to lady 1000, I decided to take a breather. I tore off my clothes. I don't know where I put them. I think I might have eaten them because I suddenly gained an indigestion tolerance. I didn't mention it before, but my body no longer makes any waste. A lot of the ladies make me puke uncontrollably, but none give me anything from the other end because for some reason my body doesn't do that anymore since I entered the tutorial. I'm scared. What happened to my clothes? Can they still come out, or am I screwed? Since I can't afford to buy new clothes, I pulled out my leopard hide, and now that's what I'm wearing. I put its head on top of me and tied its arms around my neck, but then I had to somehow cover my groin, which I did by tying its legs around there, and now I just feel bad for it because it looks like I'm wearing a big diaper. I don't know what to do with the tail, so it's just hanging behind me, but I keep stepping on it and stumbling. I just feel bad. The goddess of want approves your sense of fashion. What is there to approve? I'm wearing this poor thing's skin as my only clothes. If I could only wear my normal clothes. A hoodie. A pair of jogging pants. A nice pair of briefs. That's all I'm asking for. Why did I have to eat my underpants too? Why can't my brain survive this sort of stuff? Oh, lady number 877 with the effects of inducing coma. Take the pain away. But of course, since I have coma resistance level 2, all it does is make me feel drowsy and numb. And I've been thinking, but there really is a tolerance for everything. I mean, just the other hour I ate lady number 769 and got hormonal imbalance tolerance LV.1. But the fact that there are so many different tolerances is not a good thing. I mean, sure, I've got super strong poison resistance, but the second something attacks in a slightly different manner, I'm gone. Silently thoughtful, I chomp into lady number 1247. An aftertaste of hazelnut, with more mellow notes of ginger and burnt tires. As for the effect, yes, I'm starting to go blind. Interesting. You have learned. Blindness tolerance LV.9. You have learned. Blindness resistance LV.1. Phew, nice to have that one in the bag. Shame my vision is still being filled with nothingness. Seems lady number 1247 has a stronger effect than lady number 67, so there's only really one way to deal with this. Putting down the flower I was about to eat next, I quickly shove my fingers into my eyeballs and pull them out. Since it's a waste to just throw them away, I put them into my inventory to use as vulture bait once I get thirsty. And after a few minutes of meditation, you have learned. Auto regeneration LV.4. I can sense that I gotta level up, but I can't see it. It seems that whatever the lady did, it targeted not my eyeballs themselves, but rather my neural centrals for vision. My eyeballs have regenerated, but I'm still blind. Hopefully this won't last too long. It's kind of silly, but before all this, I assumed being blind was like having your eyes closed, like everything is black, but that isn't it at all. You just can't see at all. You have learned. Bacteria tolerance LV.1. Oh, that's going to be a bother. Well, it's not like I can tell the ladies apart by touch alone, so. I mean, I probably could, but then what's the fun? Okay, fine, I'll keep going. But I'll only do the ladies I've already had a taste of. Now, let's see here. Ruffled skirt. Soft, delicate leaves. Slightly curved stem. That's gotta be lady number 690. Let's have a taste to check. Just as flavorful as usual, and within only half a minute, I can already feel my abdomen start to itch. You have learned. Irritation tolerance LV.7. Though, thanks to my tolerance, it only sort of makes me want to disembowel myself. By groping around for a while, I'm able to find lady number 881, whose acidic slime is enough to corrode my hand down to its bones and leave it unable to regenerate for several hours. And with no hesitation, I press her to my stomach. You have learned. Acid tolerance LV.10. You have learned. Acid resistance LV.1. You have learned. Corrosion tolerance LV.5. Ah, that's much better. HM? Is that a flap of wings I hear? I guess the smell of my stomach melting was enough to rouse their attention. This might be a problem. I'm not sure what sort of impression I've given you, but I'm no, insert famous martial artist here. Flap, 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 and now I can't hear the flapping, so I think they've landed. Choice 1, try to feed them ladies. Choice 2. Oh, something just went into my soft stomach. Yup, that's a beak. My skin got kinda goopy thanks to the acid, so they don't really need to make much of an effort to slurp it up. The problem is. Vulture, LV.3, defeated. Yeah. Acid, dude. You ever heard of it? It's not very edible. But the other vultures don't really care, so they just kinda bustle around me. I can hear their feathers rusting together. Their beaks poke into me, one by one, pecking and slurping and poking and grabbing. First my stringy muscles, and then my organs. Well, mainly my bowels and stomach. But see, I haven't exactly been eating a nutritious diet as of lately. My body has neutralized most of it to the point where I can handle it well, but these vultures don't really have those sorts of resistances. So once they get to my stomach, caw, croc, caw. Vulture, LV.2, defeated. Vulture, LV.3, defeated. Vulture, LV.5, defeated. Vulture, LV.2, defeated. Vulture, LV.4, defeated. Level up. You have reached level 9. Agility has increased by 2. Strength has increased by 3. Stamina has increased by 4. Magic power has increased by 1. Coma resistance has increased by 1. Blindness resistance has increased by 1. Organ failure resistance has increased by 1. Bacteria tolerance has increased by 3. Internal damage resistance has increased by 1. Yeah, take that, you bird-brain beak for brains. Take that. Falling flat on my back, I feel my consciousness fade. Ugh. Man, what a hangover. Where is? Oh, my vision is back. Great stuff, that's dash. Is that a door? Chapter 22 F2 Boss Stage Door. No, it isn't just a door, it's my door. But we moved out of that house when I was like 9, why would? You have learned. Heat tolerance LV.10. You have learned. Heat resistance LV.1. Yeah, man, it is hot. It feels like my skin's on fire, and still I've got heat resistance. No pun intended, but it really does feel like I'm standing in front of the door to hell. Except that it's my door. The door to my childhood bedroom. I want to ask why it's here, but this is some weird tutorial looked on by weird gods, so what's even the point? More importantly, there are no more flowers. I must have eaten them all while I was asleep or something. You have learned. Hypnagogia LV.7. Yeah, I get it, but it still feels anticlimactic. There is seriously just a door right there. Stuck in the rocky wall of the furthermost edge of the rugged pass like a badly placed prop. It looks completely out of place, and it's even worse because of the you-know. It's my door. It's even got the little poker face sticker my sister put on there just before we moved. Tutorial stage. Held difficulty 2nd floor. Boss stage. Clear condition. Open the door and enter within. I just need to open it. Is that seriously it? Considering that Mole Man made literally no mention of the boss, I guess that really is the whole deal. Open a door. Is it even locked? Is there something in it? Will it explode in my face? What is the purpose of living? All very good questions. But before that, I want to check 2 things. Top, status, community. 10 hours and 5 seconds. Day 70. The 4th attempt will begin in 20:13:59:55. It's only been like 10 days since I came here, but since there is physically nothing more for me to do since all the flowers are eaten and all that, I guess I should just get to it. But first, I want to meditate slightly. I've been kind of out of it this entire floor, so I haven't really looked for it, but yeah. Sitting down on the ground, I close my eyes and meditate. After only a minute or so, a canto appears to you. Alright, let's see if it's any different this time around. O muse, o alto ingegno or amiutate. O mente scrivesti cio cio vidi. Che essi para la tua nobilitate. It's different? But still Italian. The only real difference here, though, is that it almost says meow on the first line. You know, like a cat? Meow? No? Okay. Sighing, I break the meditation and stand up. The door is right in front of me. An almost burning heat is emanating from it. I step towards it, holding out my hand to the brass doorknob, letting my palm hover over it. I haven't touched it yet, but the warmth coming from it feels like holding your hand over a flaming fire pit. It's not going to kill me, right? It's just a door. There's no need to be afraid. Just open the door. Simple. I grab the doorknob. The goddess of want is disappointed. Fire. Burning. My hand erupts into flames and my skin melts off and my flesh melts off and my bones start to crack from the heat, but I can't let go, and within mere seconds the fire eats more and more and more and more of me, snaking up my arm, leaving my skeleton black and cracked, up to my shoulders, through my entire rib cage, making my chest empty, down my pelvis and legs, making all of me black, and then up through my neck and spine, turning it black like the keys of a piano, and then the fire reaches my skull and I explode into black dust. If you don't want the salmon, I can heat up some of yesterday's chicken for you, son. You don't need to eat it if you don't want to. No, I need to eat it, Mum. It's good for me, and you spent all evening making it. Wouldn't it be mean of me not to eat the fruits of your hard labor of love? You're so mature for your age. Thanks, Dad. I wouldn't be who I am without you. Love you, Dad, Mum. When did you turn so sappy, brother? I don't know, sister. I suppose I've learned to appreciate life. I mean, it's so feeble, you know? One day it's here, and the next, it's all gone. Like your pro-gaming career? My sister snickers. It might sound weird, but I don't think I miss it. Being a pro gamer wasn't good for me. It made me mean and vindictive, and when it all came tumbling down, I really did become the worst version of myself. But now I'm better. Working down at the store with you, Dad, makes me feel like a valuable member of society. Like I'm actually useful. My dad smiles. You've always been useful, son. I'm sorry if my words ever made you think the opposite. I was just worried for you. Because I care. Not because I don't want you to be happy. But because I didn't believe that your happiness laid in gaming. And you were right, Dad. It didn't. I just thought it did, because it made me feel blindly superior over those who were playing the game because they liked it. In hindsight, I don't think I ever actually enjoyed a moment playing it. I was always just searching for the next piece of strong gear because I wanted to beat down those who actually enjoyed the game. All in all, the entire obsession just boiled down to an inferiority complex taking the form of undue hatred. It was wrong of me to take it out on you, Dad. And you too, Mum. And Sis. My mother giggles. Now you're talking gamer lingo again, son. Can't you leave the work talk for after dinner? Oh, come on, Mum. I'm not technically a pro gamer anymore, so it's hobby talk rather than work talk, wouldn't you say? We all share a laugh. I thank God in my heart that, instead of foolishly lashing out, I instead shook his hand and gave him my title with grace. It was the best decision of my life. Mum, Dad, Sis, I love you all. Thank you for being in my life. I love you too, son. I'm sorry that I haven't said it enough. But I love you too, son. Ew, stop being so sickly sweet. Though, in the end, I guess I love you too, bro. Mum smiles. Dad smiles. Sis smiles. I smile. A screen appears before my eyes. Do you want to die? What? Chapter 23 F2 Fire. I'm not at home anymore. Mum isn't here. Dad isn't here. Sis isn't here. They don't care about this. They never cared because they don't love me. And they never have. They hate me and I hate them. And the new world champion of tendrils of magic and madness is. Let's fraternize together. Cheering. Horrible, grating, loud, addictive cheering. But not for me. It was never for me. On the other side of the room. I can see him. He's grinning from ear to ear. But there's a purity to it. He's not grinning because he loves the taste of my misery. Or because he wants the world to see how great he is. But rather for the simple reason that he is happy. He won. I lost. The world shifts off balance. Everything turns on its head. Mice chase cats. Cats chase dogs. Good fight. Thank you for the exciting match. He's in front of me now. Flanked by his slightly older brother. He isn't older than me. He isn't younger than me. We're the same age. But somehow, he looks more energetic. Bright-eyed, optimistic, and happy just to be here. I feel my hands ball into fists. If he had lost, he would still be smiling. Just because he found the challenge exciting. He would still thank me, he would still shake my hand. And I would still feel like the pit of my stomach was filled with black sludge. I can't stand his type. I can't stand them. I won't shake his hand. To restrain myself. I simply cross my arms. Good work today. I hope I'll see you next championship. So we can have a proper rematch. And he slaps my shoulder. And for some reason. Some inexplicable reason. That's what does it. My world turns red and I fly at him, grabbing his arm and twisting it around. And even though my arms are normally so weak, now they are strong, much stronger than his even though he looks so much healthier. And I grin at the way his arm crunches and twists. And I want to hear that sound even more, so I keep pulling it and snapping in it every which way I can think of, and the bone is much more brittle than I had thought. And we fall to the floor, me on top of him, and him struggling desperately, but still not making a sound, his eyes wide and beady like a bug caught in a trap, not really capable of understanding what's happening. But now I'm on top of him, and his right arm is all bent and sharp shards of white are sticking out of his skin, but I'm not happy with that, so I begin pummeling his face, winding like a mechanical figure, beating and beating and beating and beating, until his nose crunches under my bruised knuckles. A trail of red going down his lip and splattering onto my hoodie, and it's only been a few seconds, so now people try to respond, but I'm stuck to him. And even though my fingers hurt and my hands hurt and my knuckles hurt, I clutch a hold of his neck, pulling my grip tighter, 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 watching as his face turns red and then blue and then. Do you want to die? I tumble. Down, down, down. The world is dark. It burns. Mommy, it burns. I don't want to anymore. I miss my family. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Help. 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 I want to die. Your father doesn't know I'm here. Mum? And he can't ever know. Son, if you go home, he will kill you. He didn't even come to the trial. You can't go home. But I can't let you stay here. I took out a loan. In the family's name. It's not good. I put down the store as collateral. If your father finds out. No, when he does, you have to be as far away as possible. I'll take the hit. He won't understand a mother's love. But he won't be able to kill me. Not while Seo-Yun still lives at home. And after she's moved out. I won't care anymore. But you can't be home when that happens. What do you expect me to do? Go homeless? We all have to make sacrifices, Ho-Jae. The only reason I was able to bail you out was because I happen to know a few people down at the courthouse. You can't be ungrateful. I hate you. I'm going to starve in the streets, and you don't care. I care and I love you. But sometimes you're a very hard boy to love. Do you want to die? Fire. Burning. Searing, blistering pain. There is no recourse from it. Sometimes when I go to sleep, I dream about it. It feels good to choke him. To see his grin falter, and his eyes bug out. It's a nice dream. And when I'm dreaming about it, I never remember the consequences. What happened afterwards? Because it didn't matter in the moment. All that mattered was to put the light out of his eyes. To make him remember who the true winner here was. But then I always get pulled out of the dream, and back into the real world. And the real world is dull. It always is, and it always has been. I hate the real world. I hate it so much. I wish the real world didn't exist. Do you want to die? I don't. I don't want to die. It's just that, for some reason, I always find myself in situations where dying seems like the most simple solution. But even then, it's not like I just lie down and die anyways. What kind of gamer would just give up once the level gets difficult? When the boss changes to a different form, or heals itself, that's when the real battle starts. No true pro gamer would simply give up. They keep going, because the pain of losing, over and over and over and over again, can never compare to the joy of winning just once. Even if everything else goes wrong, even when you're surrounded by nothing but enemies, there's still a way to win, and once you do, the rewards you reap will be all the sweeter. The higher the difficulties, the better the loot. I don't want to die. If I die, I lose. The god of cowardice repeats himself. Do you want to die? No. I don't. My skeleton hand clenches around the doorknob. Slowly, it turns in my hand, and as I creak the door open, a wave of soul-rending fire rushes out, basking my charred, coal-like body in the fiery blazes of hell. But even though it hurts, even though it makes my brain boil and bubble and burn, I still press onward, pushing against the door with my shoulder, forcing it open with all the power that the remains of my body possesses. Inside, I can see the darkness within poke out, staring into me with eyes of black fire. And still, I don't flinch. I push onward. The door opens, inch by inch, and once it is open fully, once the very pits of hell show themselves to me, in their full, fiery glory, I step inside. The fire takes me and I join with it. You have cleared the second floor. You have received 1,000 points for clearing the floor. You have received an additional 1,000 points for being the first to clear the floor. There is a God that has taken interest in you. You have received 500 points. A God shows a positive response to you. You have obtained 1,000 points. A God shows a negative response to you. 1,000 points have been deducted. A change has been made. The goddess of want wishes to grant some of her powers instead of the normal stage reward. Will you accept? Yes/no. The last time I accepted a god's offer, I got a useless, embarrassing skill that did me no good, and according to the posts on the community boards, you can usually get a pretty good piece of equipment for clearing a stage, which I desperately need because I think I ate all of my clothes, but on the other hand, how bad could it be? Yes. I press the yes button. You have obtained Great Value Sniffer, LV.max. The goddess of want, who watches over those that exhibit desire for what they should not possess, has granted some of her powers to her potential apostle. Okay. Whatever charcoal remains of my skeleton turn to dust, and I disappear into the hellish winds around me. And only as my dead dust drifts skyward do I realize I didn't get the reward for completely clearing the stage. Shoot. Chapter 24, Floor 3, My Gracious Generosity. The very second I reappear in the lobby, I fly to my feet. My eye twitches. White. There is white all around me. White pillars, white floor, white sky. It makes my stomach flip. But thankfully, now, I know just how to deal with it. I'm so happy bleeding protection doesn't completely stop me from bleeding, or I wouldn't be able to make the lobby livable. I don't think I could stay in here for a whole 24 hours if it wasn't red. Since I've already done it once, painting the whole room red doesn't take as much time as it did last time, and once I'm done, I can do nothing but wipe the sweat off my forehead and gloat at the sight. Now, as for the next floor. Time until floor 3 opening. 23 hours 11 minutes and 32 seconds. Looks good. And how's the time as a whole? Top, status, community. 10 hours 49 minutes and 30 seconds. Day 70. The fourth attempt will begin in 20:13:10:30. Floor 3 will open in 23 hours 11 minutes and 32 seconds. So if I compare this to that, the whole door thing only took 3 seconds? That whole thing was just 3 seconds? I'm just not going to think about it. It isn't important what happened and all. It isn't. What's important is that I cleared the floor, and that dumb goddess of want gave me a skill, and I failed to fully clear the floor. How? Why? I even tried to use my eyeballs as bait, and no more vultures would come. Not even if I exposed my bowels, so how did I not fully clear the level? I even ate all the flowers. Each and every single lady without a single exception. So how did I not 100% clear the floor? This is an outrage, and I demand a refund. Fuming, I stomp my feet on the floor, but apparently the paint hadn't fully dried yet, because I soon slip and fall, exposing the white. Shoot, heck, that's not bad. Bad. Not good. With increasing desperation, I slit both my wrists and spread the paint as far as I can, covering up the mistake. Bad. The bad is gone. It's gone now. So I think my best bet right now would probably be to check out that nifty new skill I got, huh? Right. Yeah. Great value sniffer, LV.max. The goddess of want, who watches over those that exhibit desire for what they should not possess, has granted some of her powers to her potential apostle. Using their nose as guide, the user can smell what they want, and thus drive them in the direction of their desires. The more they want it, the stronger the smell. Authority skill. So it's like, either this is my most useful skill yet, or it's completely worthless. It depends on how I use it. Well, I might as well give it a try, I suppose. Do I just smell? Do I need to turn it on somehow? It weirdly doesn't feel like an active skill, so maybe I just sniff. Sniff sniff. Snee-ff. Okay. One major problem. Right now, all I can smell is blood. Like, that's literally all I can smell. Well, there is also this gentle flowery smell, but that's probably just because I've eaten so many flowers that the smell is basically stuck in my system forever now. Or, well, I mean, then again, it is sort of coming from my inventory. I don't know how or why I can tell that, but that's just what it feels like. There's a flowery smell coming from it, is all I'm saying. That's suspicious. I don't like this. But it's not like opening my inventory could hurt any, so... Inventory. My inventory pops up. We've got the usual stuff. 2 swords, a shield, a spear, an axe, a rainbow-colored flower, 2 pieces of beef jerky, a bottle of water. Hang on. Flower? My mind flashes back to a certain suspicious shadow. Don't tell me. I remove the flower from my inventory. She's pretty. Her petals are long and shimmer in the light, almost pearlescent. It isn't so much multicolored as it more so seems to shimmer and shine in the light, as though it were made of crystals. I wonder what kind of horrible status effect it could inflict on me. Organ failure? Uncontrollable bleeding from every orifice? Necrosis? There's only one way to find out. With reckless abandon, I pop Lady number 1777 into my mouth. Silky texture. A slight hint of vanilla, with a touch of stained glass. Crisp stem, soft but fluffy petals, with a gently chewy inner core that tastes sweet of residual nectar, like honey, only so much sweeter. And once the lady is chewed to absolute homogeneity, I swallow. Crystal lily consumed. All wounds will be healed. Through the blessing of the goddess of want you have received. Touch of reverse tolerance, LV.1. Any tolerance skill can be used in the reverse to cause the effect that it protects from, to the strength of the skill. The tolerance level that may be reversed depends on the skill level. The touch may only be used once per tolerance level. Current power, level 1. It does what now? FFFF4 or clearing the stage .002 completely. You will receive an additional reward .002. That, doesn't look very. You have, out of my gracious generosity, received clawed panther hide. For some reason, I feel nauseous. But, listen, Mrs. Want, if my guess is right, even though I am of course very grateful for this, gift, what I don't exactly get is... Why? Specifically, if you're going to all this trouble to, and don't take offense to this, twist the tutorial to make me clear a stage while I'm in a lobby, why in the world would you then give me a panther hide of all things? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love panthers as much as anybody, but why not some item that's actually, useful? Like, for example, a sword. I'd love a sword. Right now, I only have dull, ornamental swords. They're barely even sharp at the tip, so why, for all that is good in the world, would you give me this of all things? And when I already have a leopard hide too? The god of cowardice peeks out from behind a couch. the god of cowardice. Gives a thumbs up in support. I wasn't talking to you. I'm talking to. Actually, shelf that thought, I can tell she's already gone. Darn it. Ignoring the whole ordeal with the hide, let's check out that skill, shall we? I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, that skill sounded pretty, what's the word? Overpowered? I mean, if I am to get this right. As long as I have a tolerance skill, I'll be able to inflict the effect that the tolerance protects against someone? And sure, it's only at level 1, but that ought to increase with time, right? And it's also limited by only being able to use it once per tolerance level. But do you know how many tolerances I have? Neither do I. I don't think this works with resistances or protections, but once it does. Oh boy. I feel pumped already. I mean, it's a real skill. Not just martial arts or battle focus or another damn tolerance skill, this one actually does something. Isn't that wonderful? I have no idea how much falling tolerance LV.1 will inflict in terms of damage, but it should be more than 0. My poison tolerance has reached protection, but does that mean I can't use it for this? Or can I only use the tolerances I have that are exactly at level 1? I don't know. But I have a feeling that in approximately 23 hours I just may find out. Until then, I think I should check a certain forum. Status, Community, Top. Discussion Boards. Super Molman, F13, Molman's Guide to the 13th Floor, 18. Orthodox Pox, F3, Information from the Guild of Representatives, 198. Undersunder, F8, Why Are We Here, 1. Through the Looking Glass, F9, Seeking allies to beat Floor 10 Easy Diff, Mage Wanted 0. Shark Attack, F4, I'm heard rumors that floors can be completely cleared. How? 7. Same old, Mole Man. Chapter 25. F3, The Haters and Disbelievers. He and his lies must be quelled. Now that I've beaten the second floor, I will waste no time to disprove his falsities and explain how best to defeat this floor. Like a wrathful god, I get to typing. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3, A Real Guide. To Floor 2, by a real gamer and OH8ERS allowed. Welcome back, friends, just kidding, welcome back H8TRZ. Okay, now that all the H8ATRS are gone, here's the guide. To totally clear the stage you need to eat all the ladies. And kill all the burls. To kill all the birds you need bait and your eyeballs or author flesh will work good, so just use that. And then when you get to the door you just say, no, I don't wanna die. And you and BT make sure you eat all the ladies or you don't get the complete clear reward which you want, even though it may just be a redacted pelt or waitevs. And then we just post it. Now that Shark Attack guy can even learn how to completely clear the stage, so you know, there's that. Easy stuff. I really don't see how anyone could be having trouble with this. That said, you have gotten a response. Oh. I forgot I was keeping a list of all the ladies. Seems someone else may have found use for it after all. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. Lady 1669 Vomit. Lady 1770 Vomit. Lady 1771 Vomit. Lady 1772 Vomit. Lady 1773 Vomit. Lady 1774 Vomit. Lady 1775 Vomit. Lady 1776 Vomit. Track record, F6, RIP Miss Kitty. Justifiable defeat, F2, RIP. Protect and destroy, F4, Kitty don't have 9. Lives IRL, so RIP I guess. Learn from it, F3. Okay, listen. This is going to sound super strange, but stick with me. I'm on hard and I just beat floor 2 thanks to this guide. I'm serious. I checked the boards and on easy. There aren't any flowers, referred to by Miss Kitty as ladies. But on hard there are tons of flowers and a lot of them are poisonous. Some have antidotes and heal you, but a lot cause severe hallucinations and vomiting and stuff. My buddy, removed from tutorial. Ada. Lady number 43. And dropped dead. The effects were exactly as Miss Kitty described them. Also, I don't think Miss Kitty is dead because now her floor updated to F3. She beat the second floor. Track record F6, LOL no, redacted, way. How what why, F7 yo no way. Track record F6, OMG LOL look she just posted. A bat asterisk 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 guide to the second floor. Mail what? Well. They've been chatting up quite a storm here, huh? As they say, while the cat's gone, the rats dance on the table. But right as I start to write, another few responses tick in. Track record F6, OMG LOL she just posted. A bat, redacted, guide to the second floor. Mail what? Longbottom John, F13, LOL just read it. She's totally crazy. Fragments of Hope, F9, her guide to the first floor is also insane. Why would you even make a guide to floor 1? Who is even going to read it? Track record F6, either she's literally schizophrenia or she's faking it. For the attention. How what why, F7, I think she just loony. They're all coming in so fast I barely have time to type. But after gritting my teeth for long enough, I'm finally able to get a word in. Track record F6, let's face it though no. One can survive hell, I mean look at the state of the lobby. Learn from it, F3 it's possible. 2 people have survived it so far. Track record F6, okay, but if they survived it then why haven't we heard from them, huh? This would be huge, I mean even hard is like next to impossible unless you're a literal soldier. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3, if he ate a bunch of Lady 2 and then moved lots he would have survived. Track record F6 Yo Kitty. Not cool. Learn from it, F3, Miss Kitty that is. Honestly very insensitive. Please don't say such things. I was just trying to be helpful. Geez, talk about being touchy. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3, TBH I'm just saying it like it is, I don't see the prob. Track record F6, you literally told a guy his friend died cause he didn't follow your unreadable guide to the ladies. Learn from it, F3, listen it's okay, I was just surprised. I'm still grateful for the guide, since it let the rest of us survive. We were even able to compare the flowers in the guide to those on the floor to learn which were healing or antidotes. Since they weren't in the guide, that wouldn't have been possible without Miss Kitty's guide. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3 oh so you guys get free heal and antidotes, that is so dumb. How you gonna raise your tolerance and resistance? If you just get healed but you eat food and drink water, too dumb, redacted. There. Owned. Now he won't be able to. Red-handed F7, hello, I am representative of normal floor 7. The Gore was alerted regarding possibly offensive language usage and were asked to step in. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3, what difficulty do you herald from? If no answer is given, your position will be determined forcefully. Learn from it, F3, okay, who alerted the Gore? We can settle without that sort of stuff. Red-handed, F7, learn from it, F3 for questioning the motives of the Gore. I have contacted Herring Fairy, F3, representative of the hard difficulties. 3rd floor. He should speak with you shortly. Pray that he will be merciful in his judgment. Learn from it, F3, oh come on. There's no need for that S. Okay, this is really getting out of hand. Did that guy just get, executed? Track record F6, RIP, learn from it, F3. Red-handed F7, are you suggesting that the gore is unjust in its governing, to the point where we would unfairly execute a challenger? Track record F6, no sir. Red-handed F7, would you like to convince your representative of your good intentions? Okay, that's a bit too far. Prissy kitty princess, F3, hey come on. Man cut it out, he didn't do na hun long be chill. Red-handed F7, don't think you can weasel your way out of your due punishment simply for being out of our long reach. Prissy kitty princess, F3. Once the day of grand conference arrives, you too will receive your due punishment. Prissy kitty princess, F3, nah. The day of what now? What am I even being threatened with here? Doesn't matter. He doesn't know anything and I know everything. I hold all the cards, mohahaha. Red-handed F7, we will be swift in our judgment. You will not be able to run. You will not be able to hide. If only for making light of this great organization. You will be made an example of. There is no question of that. Only pray that your end will come quick. Prissy kitty princess, F3, nah, no way, you are dumb. And I didn't hide from dumb PPL. I can feel the pure seething hatred emanating from his end, but at the same time, I feel uneasy. For some reason, he seemed pretty assured in being able to get me. What if he can? What if he does? Dying in PvP is slightly less embarrassing than dying to mobs or the terrain, but it's still easily worse than not dying at all. Day of Grand Conference. If he's so certain about it, then there has to be some information on it, right? Right. Chapter 26, F3, Rival. By searching around on the community boards, I'm quickly able to find the following post. I don't know how trustworthy it is considering that it was uploaded by these guys, but you know. Still. Orthodox Pox, F3, information from the Guild of Representatives. It has recently come to our attention that some doubt the justification of our presence. This is a ridiculous notion, based not in fact, but rather on some superstitious idea that everyone here has the same abilities and resources in clearing the tutorial, have access to the same information, and is able to procure what they need in order to do the above. This is wrong. The Guild of Representatives have only been here for as long as you have, but our goal is as simple as any. We simply want peace and security within the lobbies and community boards. To do this, rules must be decided upon, followed by, and enforced. That is simply how society works. If we have no rules, and if we have no punishments for breaking them, then this society we call the tutorial will fracture and die. In order for this all to work, for all of us, we must follow the same rules. Representatives, executives, and all the rest of you alike. In order to do this, the representatives who remain in the lobbies must also be able to eat and drink. You, as challengers, will easily be able to gain enough points to feed both yourself and others. This is not a matter of us taking your precious resources, but rather that you pay us for our labor as representatives and executives. Furthermore, we are also collecting gear and points to be invested in standout challengers who need the resources to climb higher. The allegations that many of these standout challengers happen to be part of the Gore or affiliated with us is strictly untrue. Furthermore, suggesting that constitutes as treason, and your representative may judge it as such. Then the post continued on for way longer about how this was for the best and we all follow the same rules, yada yada yada. It was all a very weird way of saying, follow our rules or else. But if I'm getting this right, these guys are taking food and water from the challengers? And also gear? I mean, sure, it's for the good cause of clearing the tutorial, but do you really need to steal from unwilling challengers in order to do it? I have a choice in this matter because they can't physically force me to join, but these other guys. I don't know. It feels icky. If these standout challengers can't clear the tutorial with their own merit alone, I don't think they deserve the sponsorship, frankly. But that all aside, what really interests me is what came at the bottom. There have been rumors circulating regarding a so-called Day of Grand Conference. Many of these rumors are unabashedly false, while others are close to the truth. In order to uncover what this is actually about, normal challenger Petrified Eggs, F11, used his exclusive, one-off wish to ask for information regarding this event, after which he graciously gave it to us so that we may spread it further. The Day of Grand Conference will be held on the last day before the fourth attempt. It will include all challengers from all difficulties on all floors, including the first. We will all meet. The purpose of this meeting is unknown, but it will last for a total of 24 hours, during which time we may speak to each other and mingle properly. This will be an important moment, and the Gore will, for this special occasion, demand that, on the day of Grand Conference, a ceremony will be held to swear in a special surprise guest as our formal ruler and leader. He will lead us from now on, in sickness and in health, through every floor and every lobby, until we can all beat it together. This will be a special occasion and marked as a future holiday. Attendance is mandatory. Thank you for your attention. Okay. That's a lot. But I get the gist. We're all gonna meet, and while they do, they're also gonna publicly execute me because I called red-handed a dumb and a dumb. Makes sense. Frankly speaking, I kind of hate it. Don't get me wrong, the whole being executed thing also upsets me, but mandatory attendance? Just to come watch these grease-tongued sacks of corporate manure swear in our new almighty leader? I hate mods. I bet their first order of business will be to put a complete ban on free speech. Oh, alongside executing me. But aside from that, this is actually kind of worth the excitement, if only for one specific reason. That person in the Hell Floor 1 lobby that stayed behind. Assuming he's still alive, that is. Status, Community, Top. Asia Server. Easy Lobby, 390 of 922. Normal Lobby, 78 of 200. Hard Lobby, 17 of 33. Hell Lobby, 2 of 2. Yeah, he's still alive. Great. Because, in that case, we have a chance for the Hell difficulty to not become a veritable bloodbath. This is the kind of game where information is key. Sure, even if I'd known exactly everything there was to know about the first stage, I would still have had a Hell to endure. But if I'd known to use an axe to shield my head and chest from the start, and to try to increase my resistances as much as possible, and to make sure to move clockwise around the hill, then maybe it wouldn't have taken an entire month, and maybe I would have come out of it with something better in hand than fetal position Blover. The god of cowardice. Huffs at the nerve of yous nowadays. Yeah, I get it, so shut up already. If I can make sure that people in the first floor lobby can receive this information, then they may have a chance of surviving this place. But well, I can't really do that if I'm dead and executed. As it is, frankly, I just don't have enough information to make sure that this doesn't happen. It's a weird thing to say, but I have no idea how weak or strong I am compared to the other people in the tutorial. In the time it took me to get to floor 2, they were already doing floor 10 and beyond. They could be like human-shaped bear sharks at this point for all I know. As unhappy as I am to say it, what I need right now is information. And unfortunately, I know just who to talk to. But I certainly won't like it. Hooked on Bach F5, yeah, but it's still your wish. You should be upset. Sad face. Supermoman, F21, it's okay, really. If it helps them share the information with more people, then it's all for the better. My post wasn't getting much traction anyways. Lion Maw Madness, F8 Dude Mole. You should totally take a breather. You've been doing nothing but challenging floors for like the past half a month. Supermoman, F21. I'm fine. The GOP lost US at floor 18, but I have a feeling that they won't stop there. We need to keep moving. It's that simple. I cracked my knuckles. Time to intervene. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. Hey Molnard. Gimme info and gonna be exercise. Supermoman, F21. Nice you see you again. Knight, congrats on beating the second floor. What can I help you with? Lion Maw Madness, F8. Moleman please. Let me ban this guy, he's obviously just a troll. Hooked on Bach, F5. Yeah, you know. Mole, for once I have to agree. This guy is kinda mean. Sad face. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. Mole, I need you to tell me HW strong you are. Simple question. Anyone can answer that, assuming they aren't being unnecessarily mean like these two dumbos are. What did I ever do to them? Hooked on Bach, F5. Mole, don't answer that one. / Lion Maw Madness, F8. Okay, lol tbh if this guy wants to try and take on Mole at the conference, then sure, like why not? I really wanna see him get his redacted beat. Herring Fairy, F3. Hey guys, what I miss? Lion Maw Madness, F8. El Mayo Fairy, this guy's at floor 2 and he wants to try and take on Mole Man. Herring Fairy, F3. Haha, yeah, that's pretty funny, I wanna watch. I am making a list. I am checking it twice. On the day of Grand Conference, I will complete my hit list, whether they like it or not. Supermoman, F21. It's alright, everyone. I'm sure he has a good reason. Having a goal in this tutorial aside from clearing it is far from a bad thing. Supermoman, F21. That said, I am currently level 42. My stats are well balanced with an obvious focus and magic power. Level 42, that's kind of high, isn't it? Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. You are Lion Maw Madness, F8. Ha, and now he's backing out. Classic troll coward move. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. I'm not a coward, shut up. Herring Fairy, F3. A troll is mad, lol. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. Not a troll. Whack you. Lion Maw Madness, F8. I've changed my mind, this guy can stay, he's great, LMAO. Hooked on Bach, F5. I just checked Miss Kitty's post history and guys, we need to stop misgendering her. Sorry about assuming you were a man, Miss Kitty. Smiley face. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. Am not WMN. Herring Fairy, F3. She's speaking in code now. Lion Maw Madness, F8. Let me decipher. I am a big stinky woman who lives to eat flowers and hallucinate all day. I can feel my vision begin to tremble. Oh. Yeah. Oh. I need to kill these people. They must die by my hand. But I can't kill them as I am. I'm too weak. Only level 9 won't hurt them. I'll need to level up as much as I can on this floor. That's my only choice. I'll level up to the point where I could wipe the floor with a winged T-Rex and then some more. Mole Man is level 42? Ha, I'll be level 43. He won't stand a single chance against my superior and incredible skill. I will defeat him. No, even more than that, I will destroy him. Prissy Kitty Princess, F3. Just you wait, Mole Man. Just you wait. Lion Maw Madness, F8. We're really quaking in our boots now, so scared. Supermoman, F21. See you at the DGC, Knight. If you really want it. I wouldn't mind a duel. I'll see you soon. Damn that Mole Man. Why is he always gotta be so cheery all the time? That aside, now I know the range I'm aiming for. It's high, but if I hurry like heck, I might be able to beat floor 3 and 4 before the conference. I mean, how hard can it be? I've done a little speedrunning before. Mostly Tamagotchi death any percent glitchless, but you know. Potato. Let's see, what's the time? Top, status, community. 9 hours 49 minutes and 30 seconds. Day 70. The fourth attempt will begin in 20:14:10:30. Floor 3 will open in 11:32. Perfect timing. Almost so perfect it scares me. I guess I'll just meditate a little until the pop-up arrives. And within only a little more than 10 minutes. Top, status, community. 10 hours 1 minute and 2 seconds. Day 70. The fourth attempt will begin in 20:13:59:58. Floor 3 has opened. Do you want to enter? Yes/no. Without so much as a hint of hesitation, I press the yes button, and the lobby disappears. Chapter 27, F3, The Aching City. I feel it before I smell it. Soft grass beneath my bloody, bare feet. I smell it before I taste it. A waft of pollen in the air, fresh flowers, earth. I taste it before I hear it. The slightest hint of fresh fruit, touching my tongue before fluttering away. I hear it before I see it. Birdsong, wind rustling the treetops, off in the distance, barking, and the sound of children laughing. And now my eyes open. It's a forest. A luscious, green, fresh, earthy, massive, bright forest. It's more green than I may have ever seen in my life. Maybe on a field trip, or a family trip, or some other sort of trip, I might have seen something similar. But even that wouldn't have been enough green. It might be because I haven't seen proper green in so long, but it's making my eyes water a little. Or it's how bright the sun is. Or some other negligible reason. I wipe at my eyes, my head swinging from side to side to make sure nobody could see the pathetic display. Thankfully, I seem to be alone. Good. Sniffle. And just as my body calms down a little, a message pops up in front of me. Tutorial stage. Held difficulty 3rd floor. The Aching City. Clear condition. Escape the forest. There it is. The forest in question is obviously this one, but it can't be as simple as just darting out of it at full speed, right? If I want to completely clear the stage, I'll probably need to defeat all enemies, as usual. In a forest, I assume the enemies in question would be the wildlife that exists there. Do bugs count? I mean, maybe if it's a spider, but... On that note, do the trees also count as enemies, since they're technically blocking my way to the exit, wherever that is? I'm starting to feel very confused by the whole situation, but considering that this tutorial place was clearly designed by someone, it makes sense that the rules might change a bit between the stages. I suppose. But first up, there's something I really need to take a look at. Because I can still hear it. Children's laughter. Sticks hitting sticks. Talking. Squeals of joy. It's not that far away either. Without really thinking at all, I move towards the sounds. I love the feeling of grass beneath my feet. I'm leaving a little trail of dried blood, but that's okay. Should I take off the leopard skin? I don't want to scare them. The rustling of the trees and the soft winds are so nice. It feels like summer. Warm. Not cold, not hot, just pleasantly warm. Not so warm my leopard skin feels too hot. No, it's just right. As I draw nearer, I start to think. It's always interested me a little, but all children sound the same. No matter the language they're speaking in, they all have the same accent. It's weird. You can always tell when the voice actor is a real child and when it's a woman pretending to be one. Maybe that's just one of the many wonders of the human ear, but that's how it is. You can just tell. And that's why it's such a surprise when I finally reach them, and I step out from within a brush, that what I'm met with isn't children at all. Gobbling, LV.1. Gobbling, LV.1. Gobbling, LV.2. Gobbling, LV.1. Gobbling, LV.1. Goblin, LV.10. Gobbling, LV.1. Gobbling, LV.1. There's about 7 of them. They're small and green, and all dressed in the kind of clothes you'd see on peasants in the Middle Ages. Brown and beige wool, little wooden shoes, stuff like that. And now they've noticed me. A lot of them are carrying sticks. Not clubs, just normal sticks. One of them is bigger than the rest, to the point where he's even a touch taller than me, which may or may not be unlike common goblin archetypes. He has a bald head but a fluffy, dark green mane around his neck and upper back, and he's currently on all fours on the ground, pretending to be a horse of some sort, with 2 of the smaller goblins riding on top of him. I have no idea what to say or do. I mean, it's goblins. Standard enemy, relatively standard appearance, and I'm ready for a fight. My body is basically itching to fight. I want to. I really want to. I've got a lot of pent-up energy from those damn bullies in the chat room. And that one big goblin has a pretty high level, even higher than mine, so he'll be great for leveling up, but they aren't attacking. Maybe it's some old instinct in me, some pacifistic need for peace, but I don't want to attack first. Until now, I haven't had to attack first. The vultures descended any time, the ladies were basically courting me first, and the 3 beasts. Is that the test for this level? To be able to take the initiative? That might be it. It might also be a test of your will. I don't know if you've noticed, but these little creatures happen to look a whole lot like human children. Just that they're green. And bald. And with huge pointy ears. It's almost funny, because I'm next to naked, and they're dressed like typical civilians. I shake my head. I need to get it together. They're goblins. I'd bet they stole those clothes from real human children. Yeah, that's it. Goblins they're scavengers, and bandits, and looters, and all those kinds of things. Like 99.9% of early game quests are always kill X-goblins, or clear out the goblin lair, or stuff like that. This is no different. I just need to. One of the smaller goblins is approaching me. For some reason I can't move. I think I'm sweating. It's so small. Care to Lao? My hand moves so fast I don't even have time to think, and it strikes plainly across the little goblin's head, making it fly to the side. I look down at my hand. It's trembling. Slowly, I clench it into a fist. You have learned. Hit LV.1. Lifrit! The large goblin cries as he flies at me, the 2 goblins on his back tumbling off of him. He's pulled the sword out of a hilt on his belt, and somewhere deep in my brain I feel calm now, because I'm being attacked, which means there's nothing wrong with what I'm about to do. I summon my little knife. But apparently I don't move exactly fast enough, because his sword slashes across my vision before I even have time to notice how close he'd gotten. You have learned. Slashing tolerance LV.1. A new tolerance. Nice. He seems to think the fight is already over because his body is visibly relaxing, but I'm way quicker than that, so I stab at his main neck, already grinning in satisfaction. But then the world shifts on itself and I fall backwards, flat on my back, and he stabs the tip of his sword towards me like King Arthur sticking the sword back in the stone, and I'm too stunned by the fact that a mere goblin feinted me and kicked my legs out from under me that I do nothing as his sword stabs itself deep into my bowels. You have learned. Slashing tolerance LV.2. Shoot. Okay. That's not good. I feel lightheaded. That's not good. The goblin suddenly turns away from me, over to the left, where that little goblin is still lying. It's pulled itself together into a tiny ball. I didn't get any message about defeating it, so it must still be alive. Lifrit Kir Tuan Lao? The large goblin asks as he kneels down and takes the little thing into his arms. New piece of information. Goblins bruise purple. Interesting. But he's made a critical mistake. Namely, thinking I'd die just from getting a sword to the bowels. Well, I guess most people would die, but I'm a super special gamer, so I'm fine. For now, at least. Ah, the world looks blotty. That's a pretty cool effect. Arg, gotta stay awake. Okay, yeah, I've been in worse situations, I can manage. I think he only stabbed through my intestines, and there's nothing in them anyways, so it's fine. I've been stabbed before, and there's a very simple way to undo it. You just pull out the stabby object. Slowly, with trembling arms, I reach for the grip of the sword. But my arms are too short. Damn it, I guess this is why my parents never let me pick up the trombone. But if I can't reach, then I just need to bring myself high enough to do so. It hurts, it makes my entire body give little electric spasms, but I'm rising up. You know when you were in elementary school and you were still agile enough to crab walk on all fours? Yeah, it's like that, but I'm just trying to stand up. I'm actually able to almost completely stand up until my wound gets stuck on the hilt of the sword. But now I can reach it, so with maybe a little amount of undue confidence, I start pulling at it. Pull. It's not coming out of the ground. How hecking deep did he push this thing in? This guy really is some sort of reverse King Arthur. Damn it, I guess I'll just have to try to wiggle off of the hilt. This is going to hurt. Stretching my own wound as far as it can go, I even use the blade itself to widen the wound, making it just big enough to put in one of the cross guards, and then I just need to do a little more, and... Gerfra hick! I look up. The big goblin is looking at me. Our eyes meet. Chapter 28, F3, Choking. I was just, He takes a step towards me and with an agility I didn't know I had, I pull out the final bit of the sword, leaping through the air and forming myself into a ball as I do, hitting the ground in the perfect fetal position. And from a worm's perspective, I have an interesting view of how the big goblin starts looking around, startled, without even the slightest indication that he might know where I am. For some reason, I had hoped I'd never need to use this ability. But here I am, and being in the fetal position just feels right. I'm hugging my legs to my chest, putting pressure on my wound, stifling the bleeding just a little. I can't really meditate here, but... Oh! A small goblin is walking towards me. But I mean, divinically speaking, it can't smell, hear, see or taste me, so I should be fine. Yup. Totally fine. The fact that it's walking towards me is just a coincidence. In fact, I can clearly see that its eyes are focused on something completely different. It might just be me, but it feels a little like the small goblins don't understand the situation too much. The big one has pulled his Excalibur from the ground and is currently in a battle-ready position, looking around like he might be attacked at any moment, and the small goblins are sort of just being. Except for this one that's walking towards me. Getting closer. And closer. And it just stumbled over me. It cries as it stumbles and falls. Damn it, invisible or not, I guess I'm still tangible. Flying to my feet, the FPB is undone, and the cry of the little goblin alerted the big one, so now I'm in a bit of a pickle. I glance back at the goblin that stumbled on me. Or am I? The big goblin charges at me, sword raised high, but not even he could see this one coming, because I deftly leap back, grab hold of the little goblin, and hold it up towards him. As expected, his sword stops mid-swing, just a few inches above the small goblin's bald head. Haha, gotcha. Can't attack me now, can ya? Derecho. Oh, now it's growling at me, how scary. What are you gonna do next, try to bite me or something? But no, he quickly turns his head and meets the gazes of all the small goblins. Tree fry! Fry par und! And as if on cue, after a single moment of glancing at each other, all the small goblins start running away into the woods. Are they running to get reinforcements? Hey, not fair. I'm outmanned 8-1 and you're still not happy? Cruel beasts. But as long as I have this little goblin, he can't attack me. Hee hee. The god of combat. Is it Palt? Huh. Who the heck asked why dash? A tiny foot smashes into my family jewels and I instantly buckle over. You little. Flee. The tiny goblin that was previously in my arms runs away. Attacking a man while he's distracted, huh? How cowardly. Ha! The big goblin shouts as he raises his sword once more, the blade falling right towards my neck. But if I'm anyways on the ground, I pull my legs into my arms and his sword suddenly loses direction completely. But due to the momentum already garnered, it slashes into my left arm anyways, slicing right through the skin and flesh and making a huge gash before getting stopped by my bone. You have learned. Slashing tolerance LV.3. You have learned. Slashing tolerance LV.4. Damn it. Leaping back to my feet, his sword slips out of me. Shoot. 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 I need to kill him fast, before those small goblins are able to call over 500 more goblins. In pure combat, he's my obvious superior. For one, he has a real sword. But I think there's one thing I have that he doesn't. Namely, an inventory. How can I tell? Let's just say that if he had an inventory, he wouldn't need a sheath. That's the only way I can defeat him. Through sheer surprise. I grin and ready my hands. The moment he attacks, I'll begin my fight back. But he isn't attacking, and neither am I. We're both as tense as drawn bows, but neither of us will fire our arrows. Carefully, we begin to rotate, around and around, looking for weaknesses in each other's defenses. Unfortunately, he has one huge advantage. All he's trying to do is buy time, while I'm desperate to kill him. The longer he waits to attack, the more he wins. Damn it. As much as it hurts, I need to be the one to attack first. But I know exactly how to do it, and exactly what to try. At a random instance, guided less by an actual opening in his defenses and more so by simply making up my mind, I leap at him. As expected, his sword quickly stabs into my abdomen, in through my soft belly and out through my back, skewering me on it. But I can survive that, and he knows it. He's trying to pull his sword back out for another attack, but it isn't hard for me to force it further in, threading my entire body on it like a piece of shish kebab, and once I get him within reach, I put one hand on his face and the other on his shoulder. Touch of reverse slashing tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reverse piercing tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed heat tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reverse dehydration tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed falling tolerance, LV.1. The hand that touched his clothed shoulder didn't do anything, but for every finger that touched his face, I could apply 1 TRT. I grin. He stares at me. He mostly looks confused. He blinks at me. Okay, so, it seems to me, that TRT might not be especially dash. With a mighty push, he throws me off of his sword, in the process also slashing open my entire side. Ow. Ouch. Ow well. Okay. That's not good. Shoot. Heck. A little bit of my intestines is spooling out. Not good. I'm on the ground again. Also not good. I don't want to die like this. Not against some damn goblin. Shoot. This is really bad. It hurts. Mommy, it hurts. I don't want to be here anymore. Fry MIT2, Grathted Derecho. Oh, come on, don't speak like you're the hero here. What did I ever do to you? Nothing. That's exactly what. Nothing at all. Growling, I reach for his ankle. It's exposed. My fingers can touch him. If 5 tolerances wasn't enough then, how many will do the job? Touch of reversed organ rupture tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed coma tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed hypothermia tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed poison tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed choking tolerance, LV.1. He stumbles. Heg! Yeah, take that. I grab his other ankle with my other hand. Touch of reverse fracture tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reverse necrosis tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed hallucination tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reverse blindness tolerance, LV.1. Touch of reversed nausea tolerance, LV.1. He stumbles again, falling backwards, grunting as he does, before finally dropping to the ground, his body twitching a little. Had you Timir? He's mumbling something. I don't care. The TRTs can't kill him, but I don't need them to kill him. I crawl on top of him and put my hands right below his chin, just above where the mane starts. And then, gleefully, I squeeze. None of his bones are fractured, he isn't blind, not one part of his body is experiencing necrosis, he isn't puking and he isn't seeing anything that isn't actually here. But I can tell that he can feel something wrong inside of him. And that's all I need. He's stronger than me by far, but this isn't my first time choking. You have learned. Choke LV.1. Die. 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 You took everything from me. Die. 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 Because of you, I have nothing. Die. 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 My home, my family, my title. Die. Die. Everything. Die. His eyes turn dim. You have learned. Choke LV.2. Goblin, LV.10, defeated. No level up, huh? Guess not. Shame. Chapter 29, F3, Kill X-Goblins. Normally, when you kill something in a game, it drops what it owns. But if I did that now, it might not drop its stuff. Let's see here. A set of clothes that are too big, a small pouch of colorful rocks that seem to be painted, a letter written in a language I can't read, a crudely carved wooden animal, a small ring, and similar. I grab all of it and put it in my inventory. Now that I think about it, in games, goblin ears and goblin fingers and goblin noses and goblin eyes can sometimes be used for alchemy or similar. I don't know if that's the case here, but it's a waste not to grab what I can, right? I remove my knife from my inventory and grab what I can. You have learned. Butcher LV.1. You have learned. Butcher LV.2. You have learned. Butcher LV.3. 2 goblin ears, 10 goblin fingers, 1 goblin nose, 2 goblin eyes, 32 goblin teeth, 1 goblin tongue, 10 goblin toes, 20 goblin nails, 2 goblin lungs, 1 goblin heart, 2 goblin kidneys, 1 goblin spleen, 1 goblin pancreas, 1 goblin brain, 1 goblin skull, 1 goblin stomach, 1 goblin appendage, 138 goblin bones, 1 goblin liver. About 30 kilos of goblin meat, 1 goblin hide, and 1 goblin tumor I found in his neck. Into my inventory it goes. See, if I just poked it until it poofed, it would probably only have left like a goblin hide and a piece or two of goblin meat, which would have been a huge waste. Oh, I forgot completely about the small goblins. Well, it didn't take too long to completely loot the goblin, so they can't have gotten too far. Hopefully. Standing up, I take a deep breath through my nose. I was sort of worried that the enchanting smell of the forest would get in the way, but nope, I can smell them just fine. Going by the intensity of the smell, I can even tell sort of where they went. Most went towards the hypothetical east, but a few lost their way. They smell more when together. The scent is a lot like this one sweet I used to eat as a kid that was discontinued before I could fully appreciate it. It's making me drool pretty badly. I wonder what goblin meat tastes like. Sure, I'm trying to level up my starvation resistance so it can reach the protection level, but there has to be some sort of exception, right? Right. Perfect. Smiling, I set out. Obviously, my first objective is to get to the biggest group that are moving with the most confidence towards the hypothetical east. I don't know how fast they are going, but considering that the smell of them is getting stronger, I'm just a bit faster. Good. You have learned. Sprint LV.1. You have learned. Sprint LV.2. Sprint is technically an active skill that uses up your stamina like a fat kid at an all-you-can-eat buffet, but since I have exhaustion resistance, I can keep running anyways. It actually makes for a pretty nice synergy, as while I'm sprinting, my resistance is increasing, too. You have learned. Exhaustion resistance LV.4. You have learned. Sprint LV.3. You have learned. Sprint LV.4. You have learned. Exhaustion resistance LV.5. Nice. 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 Very good. Ah, the smell is becoming overwhelming. They're so close. I can practically taste them. If this was a cartoon, this is the point where I'd lift from the ground and start to float towards them. Ah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. The god of hunting shakes his head. Are you envious? Is that it? Ah, it smells so good. It's so close. I can tell. Right in there, just inside a little hut made of sticks. I see what they did. They took sticks, and they leaned them against the tree and then wound them with ropes. But the sticks are too heavy for the small goblins to carry, and put way too high up, and I don't think they could make such ornate knots. They must have gotten help from bigger goblins. Interesting. But there's only one entrance to it. Isn't that just silly? Smiling, I pop inside the small wooden hut. It's dark in here, but I can see them with perfect clarity. There are 4 of them, huddled together. At seeing me, one of them jumps in front of the others, stick raised. Gobbling, LV.2. Oh no, a level 2. Whatever will I do? I pull out the sword I stole from the bigger goblin and stab the smaller one through the chest. Gobbling, LV.2, defeated. The god of combat is enraged. The goddess of innocence looks away. The god of adventure winces. Who the heck are all of these? Bunch of weird. One of the goblins notices my distraction and runs for the exit. Ah, nope, not letting you do that. I slash at its bald head, but the sword kinda bounces off, gouging a huge flap of flesh out of her skull without actually piercing through the skull itself. Man, I'm bad with this thing. Not that I'm good with the spear either. Or the axe. Or the dagger. Or my own 2 hands. Maybe I'm just not suited for combat at all. It wouldn't be too strange. I am a modern human being, after all. I'd like to take my time defeating them, but now the little goblin at my feet has started rolling around and emitting the most ungodly wail, so I don't really have a choice other than to put this animal out of its misery. I step on its neck. You have learned. Choke LV.3. Actually, I think there might be a more humane way to do this. With a twist of the heel, I instantly break its neck, quickly and painlessly. See? Easy. Goblin, LV.1, defeated. The god of hunting covers the eyes of someone. The goddess of children is blinded. This time, I consciously keep myself from looking at whatever these weird gods and goddesses are trying to do. Instead, I look at the 2 remaining goblins. It's hard to believe someone would call these things children. Sure, they're small and kinda pathetic looking, but they're obviously monsters. Enemies. I mean, I get experience from defeating them, right? Isn't that proof enough? You don't get experience for defeating non-enemies. Since these gods are so adamant about all of this, I decide to put the 2 last goblins down in a more humane way. I discover here and now that my hands are just the right size to perfectly slip around their necks, to the point where I can actually hold them both at once with no problem. And although I'm far from strong, I can actually lift both of them at once. Man, this feels so cool. Should I do a Three Stooges bit and bonk their heads together? Haha, that'd be hilarious. But if I do that, it won't be humane and the gods might get upset again. PSH. I thought divine beings weren't supposed to care about mere mortals. Well, whatever. I clench my hands as hard as I can, but it's not quite hard enough to instantly break their necks. But almost. I can feel their spines creak a little in my grip as they struggle and flail wildly. Just a little more. You have learned. Choke LV.4. You have learned. Clutch LV.1. Crack. And with just that, the both of them go limp. One of them is kicking a little, but after a few seconds it stops. Goblin, LV.1, defeated. Goblin, LV.1, defeated. And no reprimanding words from any of the gods and goddesses. Humane killing, successful. The god of cruelty is amused. Oh, come on! The god of cruelty has taken an interest in you. Hey, quit that. I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was defeat a few bipedal animals in a superhumane way. If this was the meat industry, I'd be able to slap on a cruelty-free label no problem. This is ridiculous. Every time I do something right, these guys go and spin it in the exact opposite way. The goddess of want praises you. I want to be happy, but for some reason, I don't want to thank her, specifically. This feels kind of like getting a pat on the back from a bear. The god of cowardice tries to muster a compliment for you but fails. Gee, thanks, coward. That means a lot. You too. These gods really are an eyesore. I wonder if there's some way I can find the settings and turn off pop-ups? That would be swell. Anyway, before I do anything else, I quickly poke my head out of the little hut and take a great big sniff. The other three have gathered, but they aren't heading anywhere from what I can tell, so I have time to look at these four first. I pull out my knife but change my mind. There's a skill for everything. Maybe there's a skill that lets you grow claws or something? That'd be sweet. My nails are pretty long as is, so I might as well give it a try, right? Right. I get to it. Chapter 30, To Catch a Goblin. You have learned. Butcher LV.4. My first attempt is, not quite a success. But halfway through the skinning part, after I'd grown desperate enough to use my teeth, I got this skill, so, semi-success, I guess? You have learned. Fong LV.1. And then, almost exactly when I finished up fully with the first one, I got it. You have learned. Claw LV.1. It isn't much, but it's enough. Butchering the four tiny bodies with only my bare hands took way longer than when I had the knife, but for some reason, I have a feeling that it wouldn't be too good to rely on items too much. And by the end of the final one, you have learned. Butcher LV.5. You have learned. Claw LV.6. You have learned. Fong LV.4. Good stuff. With this many goblin hides, I could probably make myself a pair of trousers or something, but I am, unfortunately, not gifted in the art of sewing. What's that? I could learn to sew very quickly within this tutorial where effort is rewarded with skills. No way, I didn't have any idea. Anyways, I throw all of the organs and meat and hides and child-sized clothes into my inventory and get going. Whoa. The sky. It's turning orange-red. The sun is going down. The passage of time. It's happening. I can't believe this, I'm just, oh my god, the sun, and the sky is so colorful and pretty, and oh my word, damn it, I'm crying again. Glad there aren't any goblins around to notice. Sniffle. Let's see, what time does this put us at? Top, status, community. 18 hours 45 minutes and 1 second. Day 70. The fourth attempt will begin in 20:05:14:59. It looks about right. I wonder if the time shown on the floor was altered to match the time that I dropped in, or if it would have been dark had I appeared later, or if the fact that the times match is just a coincidence. Guess I'll learn that if I get to a similar stage in the future, but it doesn't feel like a coincidence. Either way, I should try to catch the goblins before nighttime or things might get complicated. Sprint, activa dash. The second I activate sprint, my right leg snaps in two and I fall to the ground. You have learned. Fracture tolerance LV.8. Okay, that's not good. Ow. Not good. HM. Crawling back inside the hut, I start meditating. Okay, so maybe constantly using sprint doesn't just affect my stamina/exhaustion, but maybe also my legs. Like physically. But doesn't that also mean it's a great moment to train, or something? Sure, breaking my own legs puts me out of commission for a little while, but it's a great way to get higher levels in fracture tolerance, and maybe even to reach fracture resistance. Great, glad we've got that decide dash. A canto appears to you. Oh great, this again. Sure, show me what the deal is this time. Lasciate ogni speranza, voi siete trait. Okay. Wonderful. Anyways. After maybe half an hour or so, my leg finally heals fully, alongside the sword wounds I still had left. You have learned. Auto-regeneration LV.5. Nice, good to have. Well, off I go to catch a few goblins. Stepping out of the hut, I activate sprint again, and the second I take off, I feel a few of my toes break. You have learned. Fracture tolerance LV.9. I keep running. As my sprint skill increases, the damage it does to my body increases as well. You have learned. Sprint LV.5. You have learned. Exhaustion resistance LV.5. You have learned. Starvation resistance LV.7. You have learned. Sprint LV.6. You have learned. Fracture tolerance LV.10. You have learned. Fracture resistance LV.1. My body is physically becoming so weak that enough energy is being siphoned from my muscles to increase other resistances as well. I never considered it before, but should I take up jogging? And right as I have that horrifying thought, my brain suddenly goes completely black and I fall over and pass out. I'm awake. I'm awake. Okay, reminded to self, maybe jogging for too long might not be for the best. But now that I'm awake, I can tell that a few other resistances increase too, so you know. Hooray! You have learned. Coma resistance LV.4. You have learned. Unconsciousness tolerance LV.8. You have learned. Unconsciousness tolerance LV.9. You have learned. Unconsciousness tolerance LV.10. You have learned. Unconsciousness resistance LV.1. You have learned. Blindness resistance LV.3. You have learned. Hypnagogia LV.8. Lots of fun stuff. Anywho, it seems like my feet have healed, but more worryingly, it is completely dark. Bummer. And I don't mean that it's, like, kind of dark, or that it's hard to see, or something weak like that. No, it is literally pitch black. But somehow, I can still see. And I'm not entirely sure how. Well, I can guess, but does being resistant to blindness really let you see better in the dark? It's weird. Hopefully, the remaining goblins weren't able to escape in the time I spent unconscious / in a minor coma. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Smoke? I can still smell the goblins, but I can also smell smoke. That's odd. I can't see anything down on the ground, so after a few seconds of deliberation, I hook my sharp fingernails into a nearby tree trunk and begin climbing. You have learned. Climb LV.1. You have learned. Claw LV.7. Up, 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 up I go until I can peek my head out above the treetops. Whoa. Normally, I'd probably feel obliged to mention the fact that there are a number of what I think are moons in the sky, but they are easily overshadowed by the number of stars up there. It looks, to me, like wherever this fantasy planet is supposed to be, it is currently in a galaxy crashing together with another one. I don't know how else to describe it. The darkness below the treetops was misleading, because this is beyond bright. I don't think I've ever seen this many stars before, which isn't strange when you live in a place like Seoul, but seriously. This is more than should be possible. End of chapter. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a like and comment to let me know you want more. Make sure to support the author by liking the official story page on Royal Road, link in the description. Links to the author's Discord group can also be found in the description.